oozes out from who he is. So because of that, I would love if in Ellis County, Tampa Bay, Sarasota, I know we have Jacksonville in here, we have people from Georgia in here, and I would love it if we just came together and just welcome Tim Tebow to the stage.
Thank you so much. Y'all can sit down. Y'all can sit down. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so kind of you guys. Guys, I want to personally thank Dustin because this is Dustin's idea. He decided to put this on, and when so many people were like, what are you even going to try to do? Like, at first it was in a minor league stadium, and they're like, there's no way, like, no one's going to come, it's not going to work. And Dustin's faith and just how big Dustin's God is incredible. And he said, you know what? We're praying about this. Our team's behind it. Our church is behind it. And we're believing God's going to do something pretty cool. Well, look around, you guys. This is pretty cool. Dustin, thank you, man. Thanks for your faith, man. Guys, and I also want to thank everybody that has volunteered, that has put in the time. You see all these banners, they're all churches that decided, you know what? It's not about our banner, it's about our church. It's about God's church, it's about people. And so they decided to volunteer to get involved. I want to thank Matt Brock for just crushing it. I want to thank Shannon. I want to thank the entire Mission City band. I mean, guys, were they awesome or what? Mac, I gotta tell you though, you had me fired up, dude. Matt, you had me fired up. You were rocking with that one. I mean, Matt Brock was awesome, right, guys? I'll tell you what, it really is an honor for me to be here. I think tonight is gonna be such a special night, and it's incredibly humbling, but it also feels really good. It feels really good because I just came from the SEC championship, and so the last few days I was surrounded by that. I was surrounded by a bunch of Bulldogs and a bunch of Roll Tide. So I gotta be honest, it feels pretty good to finally be back around some friends, right? You know what's funny is you're around so many Bulldogs and Alabama fans, and they'll be talking normal to you until you finish. And then when they leave, every single time they leave, they'll have to throw in a Roll Tide. And it's like every single time, but you also have to say it with the most Southern country accent you possibly have, though. It's like they're, hey, Timmy, so nice to meet you. Pleasure, God bless. Roll Tide. It's like, why do you have to say that so country? And it's the same thing with the Georgia fans. Go Dogs. Come on, guys. Can you just leave it? But you know what? I actually almost wasn't a Gator, though. I mean, I grew up a huge Gator fan, and my parents were Gators, and I had two siblings that were Gators, but when I was getting recruited, Florida wasn't necessarily doing too well, and I was actually planning on going to Alabama. True story, I'm sorry guys. That's why sometimes we gotta be willing to repent. So Alabama was #1 for me, and then this guy named Urban Meyer signed at the University of Florida. And so he started recruiting me, and so they started working up the charts, and so it's my senior year, and we're getting ready to play in the state championship, actually against Sefner Armwood down the street, and that game was on December 12th, and we were blessed to play and win, and 3 days later, I had to tell the world on national TV, ESPN, where I was going to be playing college football, except the problem was, I didn't know. I was torn between Florida and Alabama. You see, I went to 5 official visits, Florida, Alabama, LSU, Michigan, and Southern Cal, but I quickly narrowed it to 2 because I was like, well, LSU, I was like, I mean, they're a good school and everything, but LSU is like Alabama, except not as good. So we'll narrow LSU out. I was like, me and my dad went on my official visit to Southern Cal, all the way across the country, and Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, they had this amazing team, and they're playing their biggest game of the year against UCLA, crosstown rivals, and so we show up to this game. We're so excited. I mean, I'm watching two Heisman Trophy winners, and Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, and opening drive, Reggie Bush has like a 30-yard touchdown, flips in the end zone, and I'm standing up, and I'm like, dang, that play was unbelievable. And I looked around, and people were like, and they like do their little peace thing, and I was like, what? I can't come here for that. Like, I'm used to the swamp. Like, where only Gators get out alive, not this trash. And then I was like, well, you know, Michigan, I mean, that really good tradition and everything, but the girls there are just not quite as pretty, so no, we're not going to Michigan. So I narrowed it down to Florida and Alabama. It's two schools I loved. I was close with all the coaches. I love both schools, and so the night before I had to make my decision, I sat down with all of my family, my mom, dad, and all my 4 siblings, Christy, Katie, Robbie, and Peter. So I'm truly torn between these two schools, guys. I mean, I have no idea. I'm stressing about it. And I sit down and I said, hey, Dad, like, honestly, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. Would you please tell me where to go? I truly have no idea. I mean, I have no idea. Tell me, Dad, where do I go to school? He said, Timmy, I'll tell you what. You know that I love you and I would do anything for you. But I gotta tell you this, I really trust you. And I trust that you're gonna make a great decision. Thanks, Dad, but that doesn't help. Hey, which one? Which one in those good decisions? There's Florida, Alabama. I was like, fine. Mom, tell me, where do I go? And Mom's like, listen, I'm with your father. Mom, come on. I was like, fine. Christy, Katie, Robbie, Peter, like, you guys, you know me better than Mom and Dad. You tell me where I'm supposed to go. And so my oldest brother, Robbie, kind of pipes up and he's like, hey, listen, you know we always have your back. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, well, whatever. Like, absolutely. He's like, well, we trust you're gonna make a great decision. I was like, guys, that's not helping. And they could see I was getting super mad. And so my dad's like, Timmy, calm down. Why don't you just go do this? So why don't you just go to your room, get on your knees, pray about it. And in the morning, I'm sure God will put it on your heart exactly where you're supposed to go to school. So I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's good parenting. So I go to my room, I get on my knees, I pray about it. I wake up the next morning, and I have no idea where I'm supposed to go to school. Truly no idea. So I'm freaking out. I'm totally stressed out. I take my dog. We go out by our lake. I sit out there, pray all day, trying to have some clarity of where I go to school, and nothing. And I gotta tell the world at 5 p.m. where I'm going, and it's almost 3 o'clock. So I go inside, I type out my speech, and at the end of my speech, I have next year, I will be playing for the University of blank. And I take a shower, I put on my suit, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'm just gonna go up to school, I'm gonna see my high school, my head coach. He loves me, he's like a father figure, he's gonna help me, he's gonna tell me where I'm supposed to go to school. So I get up to school, and I'm like, Coach Howard, I've been looking for you, tell me, okay, Coach, like, you've been with me the last 3 years. Honestly, what's a better fit? Florida, Alabama. And he said, Timmy, I'll tell you what, man, over the last 3 years, it's been such a joy being able to coach you, and I love you like a son, and Timmy, I'll tell you what, you are gonna make a great decision. No, Coach, you're supposed to say, coach me, help me, tell me. And he wouldn't say a word. No one would say a word. None of my assistant coaches, none of them would say a word. Even my siblings wouldn't say anything like talk through pros and cons with me, because they didn't want to give anything away or tell me their bias. And so finally my dad gets up to school, and there's a huge auditorium, and half of it is filled with red and white, and half of it is filled with orange and blue for the Alabama fans and the Florida fans. And now it's like 4:30, and I'm freaking out because I don't know where I'm going, and I'm standing right outside the auditorium, and I'm like, Dad, where the heck do I go? And Dad's like, all right, well let's go back to your priority list. What's your number one priority in picking a school? And I was like, well, it's the people. It's the people that I'm gonna be around. It's always what's most important in anything that we do. It's the people that I'm gonna be with. And he said, okay, that's awesome. But what about if it was just one person? who would you pick? I was like, oh. I said, well, I mean, I love Alabama. I love the passion, the tradition, everything about it. I love Florida. I love Urban, the style of offense. I grew up a Gator, and what if it was just one person? Just one person. Who would you pick? I said, well, I mean, I love Coach Shula at Alabama, but it would probably be Coach Meyer at Florida. He said, well, if that's your number one priority, then there you go. I said, all right, I'm going to Florida. So I pick up the phone to call Coach Shula to tell him that I'm not going to Alabama because that's the right thing to do. And so I dial him up, and we were very, very close for the last few years, and so I start crying on the phone with him, and it wasn't the only time Alabama made me cry, but it's not that funny. And so I'm talking to Coach Shula, and I tell him, Coach, I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to go to Alabama. I'm going to go to Florida. And he says, Timmy, you just stop right there. He said, I love you just as much now as if you came to Alabama. You're going to have a great career, and hopefully I'll coach you one day. So I hang up the phone, I look at my dad, I'm like, that's the coach I'm supposed to play for. I just told him I'm going to Florida, and he said he loved me. I was like, no, I'm going to Florida, I'm going to Florida. These waters. I'm going to Florida. So I pick up the phone to call Coach Meyer, and Coach Meyer is ADD, so he's driving in his car because he's nervous, because he knows I'm making this decision at 5 o'clock, and so he's like, hey big guy, and hey coach, how you doing? And he doesn't get it because I'm wiping off tears. He doesn't know they're for Alabama, not for him. And so I'm getting ready to say, hey coach, I'm coming to, and his phone goes dead. True story, guys. His phone goes dead, and so now it's like 4:50, and we gotta go live at 5 o'clock, and people are literally freaking out. Get in here, we gotta get in here. I was like, no, and I'm trying to dial him back because I'm not like gonna leave a voicemail on his BlackBerry telling him I'm going to Florida. And so I keep trying him, keeps going to his voicemail, and then finally they just push me in the room, and so I walk up to the dais and I sit there, and I'm sitting, my parents and my family and my coaches and everybody's sitting up here, and all ESPN's mic'd up, and they're chanting like "Go Gators," and then they're doing all the Alabama stuff on this side, and so they mic me up, and then they're counting down from a minute, and I look at my dad, and I'm like, Dad, I didn't actually tell Coach I'm going to Florida. I could still go to Alabama. And so ESPN, it's not live, but they're like, what? Is this real? Like, freaking out. It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so the whole time I'm doing this interview, I got like a happy face. I'm smiling and acting like everything is okay, and I'm excited, except it's pure agony inside. And the whole time I'm thinking, while I'm answering these questions on ESPN, I'm thinking, oh shoot, what am I gonna say? Florida or Alabama? I mean, because consequences are pretty big. Florida or Alabama, back and forth. And I'm thinking of all my visits and all my times and all the people and everything, but finally at the end, the last thing I think about is my dad's conversation, and if there's just one person, who do you believe in the most? And so I thought of Coach Meyer, and at the last second I said, next year, I will be playing football for the University of Florida.